of the same magnitude as one that destroyed parts of Knysna in 2017 could happen again. Now, this is according to an insurer's report which looked into how such disasters could be prevented. Climate change and population growth are named as contributing factors to such massive blazes.
The most devastating wildfire in South Africa in human history ripped through Knysna in June 2017, claiming 7 lives. The fire left almost 1,000 homes in ruin, with an economic impact in excess of 3 billion rand. Hot and dry conditions with housing in high-risk areas contributed to the devastation. The report is aimed at mitigating the impact of similar catastrophes.
The extent to which people are unable to recover after events like this can be devastating to economies. You can enter into a downward spiral where people simply can't get back on their feet, get their homes back, their businesses can be destroyed. So from that perspective, it's absolutely crucial to ensure that insurance plays the role it needs to play, but also to limit and mitigate the impact of events like this.
The report says integrated fire management is essential in managing such catastrophes. Controlling fire-prone vegetation and reducing combustible materials and properties are also among the key recommendations in the report.
It's preparation, and that can be with fuel management, so if forestry, municipal, private land, trying to reduce the fuel load and handle it through prescribed burns and through various other processes to put the policies and procedures to make sure people can more easily prepare their land so that when a fire comes through, it doesn't spread as rapidly.
The report recommends that the insurance industry develops more affordable insurance products for what is known as missing middle households. Vanessa Puna, SABC News, Cape Town.
Well, remaining with Knysna fires, wildfires that ravaged the areas more than a week ago, today exactly, 2 years ago since the Western Cape's worst fire disaster. Now, to help us look back and how to better handle such unfortunate incidents, we joined in studio by Parapara Makgahlela, who is the Gauteng provincial spokesperson for working on fire, and Katlego Molapo, who is one of the Knysna crew leaders. He's actually the Type 2 crew leader for Roodeplaat team. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time. Katlego, if I can take you back 2 years ago, almost to the date, those fires that ravaged, one of the worst fires in South Africa's history, isn't it? Take us back there and what are the challenges, some of the challenges that you and your team faced?
First of the challenge that we faced as a team is type of a fire that we've been seeing. That side is a vegetation fire, of which we are from Gauteng. We are only fighting grass fire, but in Cape is a vegetation famous fire, of which it was some of the effect that we as a team we faced. But due because of the support from the Cape side and other crew members and the training service that we came from, we only use that strategy. Another one of the things that we foresee as it was a problem, it was hours that we worked. We did not have even a time to rest because of the nature was getting destroyed every day, every night. So we had to work at night, we had to work every morning when we wake up, we just think about the lives that we need to save as the crew.
I mean, almost 1,000 homes destroyed. I'm looking at some figures, approximately 19,000 hectares burnt, and mopping up operations continued for weeks afterwards as well, isn't it?
Exactly. One thing, when you just wake up, you just think about where is the hotspot that we need to go so that we can just alert the aerial support, the bombers to come and drop the wood. Because even the tools that we had, it wouldn't work that side because it was vegetation fire. We're only using bitter, knapsack, another the recus, of which you can only use those ones in KP by mop up, not extinguish the flame. The flame that side is very high.
So you reckon the water bombers were very crucial in putting off these fires?
The aerial support was working. Their work, it was very perfect, to be honest, because of it's the ones that helped us to contain the fire at the end of the day.
Well, talk to us about the coordination between the ground, the folks that are working on the ground, and their coordination with regards to the aerial stuff.
Okay, what our CIC did told us is to, guys, just go to the hotspot, alert the aerial support, the bombers, where is your location, where you cannot enter alert the bomber to come and drop the water, so that yourself, the little that you have, the flame littles that you are having, is whereby you can intervene with the flames. For mop-up, there's some little unextinguished burning materials, is whereby we can come and suppress the fire. But most of the flames that are high, the aerial bombers were taking part of it.
Parapara, as we were talking about, this is one of the worst wildfires in South African history, and some of the dynamics that were given in terms of what contributed to the devastation was that there was a drought preceding this, there was very hot and dry conditions, they're talking about concentration of assets and housing in high-risk areas, vulnerability of dwellings, as well as high fuel loads in many areas. That was there. We can talk about it here in Gauteng as well, and many other parts of the country where we're experiencing now, it's fire season, isn't it? It lasts from June to the end of August. What sort of parallels, what sort of lessons can be learned?
What I can say, thanks for the opportunity first and foremost. We would like to advise people, especially landowners, whether you own freeway or farms, plots, houses, especially where you are much more exposed to risk of fires, to form fire protection association in terms of the law, because the National Forest and Forest Act of 1998 requires that every landowner should be part of FPAs. Because in instances where you are exposed to fire and then your property gets burned down, it means insurance are likely not going to pay if you're not a member of FPA in that community.
And do you find in your work that landowners, homeowners know about this?
Very few knows, but majority of owners and those who are unemployed, they are aware, because we interact more with them in Gauteng, because we've got about 17 teams that we've deployed all over the country with about 400 firefighters who are ready at the moment in Gauteng to help in suppressing these fires. So we challenge the landowners to say, let them unite so that they can manage fire trends in their communities and areas where they live.
What sort of trends have you picked up in Gauteng and surrounding areas with regards to fires?
Mostly the problem is when landowners are not united, because you find that you are my neighbor. This time we're doing fire breaks for our people. I mean, landowners, we've got teams, and you find that Blaine is not willing to do fire breaks in his plot. If it burns, it moves into my plot, and I haven't done fire breaks, it means my property will burn down. So that's a huge challenge, but we're saying let landowners unite, especially the farmers, those who are owning plots, lodges, nature reserves. Let them unite, because we've seen one of the worst fires in Segrepos Nature Reserve. I think about 2 people were killed, if not a year ago. I think that was in 2017 as well. It's a challenge, and it's threatening lives, threatening economy as well. I mean, the report that you've just pointed out, it made cost of 3.3 billion of economic loss. It's a huge challenge. That money could have been used for employment for young people in the country as well. The economic cost of the Knysna fires was, as you said, at least 3.3 billion rand, and this excludes untold losses to those who have lost homes, businesses, jobs, and all, etc. Katlego, fires should not always be prevented, and here I'm talking about some vegetation which, like fynbos, which needs fires to persist.
Yes, you're right. For recruitment, fire is not always to have to be the right to take place. For instance, we are having animals from different places, and then you see that the grass is growing. And then when it grows, it becomes so dry, not healthy to the animals. So that's why we as Wake on Fire, we are having this program whereby we are doing a block bans in nature reserves and lodges, whereby we know that if we have done a block ban is whereby maybe I take a few hectares, I burn it for recruitment, so that the plantation, a right plantation will grow again, and then the animals that they need to eat, and then they'll eat the fresh food.
I mean, this is, Parapara and Katlego, a high-risk job, and I mean, you're on the front line fighting these fires. What sort of training do you go through?
Our program is having at the academy in Nelspruit, very professional instructors that they always emphasize that life of your people that you lead depends on your hands. So even the training is very high. It's not a simple training. You have to go further. You need to read more. so that you can contain the lives of people in a better place.
Parapara, do you think we have enough capacity in South Africa in general to tackle some of these mega fires?
I don't think we got full capacity to tackle this scourge problem. I think government and even private sector should come on board to sort of provide funding so that we create more firefighters, because we lack more firefighters and resources as well. I mean, aviation is one of those areas that still need to be explored. I mean, it's very expensive as well to sort of run a Black Hawk maybe an hour or so. So we find that the rate is quite high. But I'm saying, government and private sector, should actually come on board and say, support this initiative, because this is going to be a problem whether we like it or not. It's a threat to our lives. And I'm saying we don't have enough capacity. This is my perspective based on what I've seen over the years. But I'm saying we need more support, we need more funding.
And as we were saying, getting everybody on board, including homeowners, and home preparedness for such fires is key as well, isn't it?
Yes, it's key, because they also need to cut off the fuel that actually may pose threat to their properties. You find that. So
give us some examples. What are we talking about in terms of
people
fuel
have got,
sources?
We've got. Let me give an example of the nature of the plants. Some plant bonbons in their properties, and then at times they are even doing braais, especially this time of the year. And bombloong is quite dangerous. It's also fuels fires very much. So it was one of the problems in the Knysna fires. The alien invasive plants are very dangerous as well. So some leave trees that are also quite flammable. They are leaving the twigs, lying close to their roofs. And we're saying to them, let them cut off. Let them trim them nicely, so that there are proper checks in and around their properties.
Look, we were learning lessons from the Knysna fires, Katlego, from a firefighter's point of view in terms of strategy going in. What lessons have you guys learned?
To not to sleep. Not to sleep. When you fight fire, you don't have to sleep. Some of the laws that we are having inside the book theoretically, and when you go to the field and then you see that what I've read, then I need to practice it. Not to sleep at all. When you are in the field, especially in Cape Side, that fire can just come from the sky. You don't know which side. So every time you need to be more vigilant, to be alert all the time. I
mean, I can hear the passion when you're talking off air. I can hear it. What motivates you to keep on going and to face this fire head on? Because you could lose your life.
Okay, what motivates me is the life of people that are losing, the assets that some of the communities that they are losing. So if you're having a passion of doing something, you'll put your life before, for instance of losing something, or instance of other people to lose something. You don't think about yourself. You think about saving their lives. Hence, the NFS place, you take a pen and say that I'm signing for this contract. And another one, as a crew leader, first of thing that you always think of is that the people that are behind my back, I'm their responsibility. If if one lose their lives, myself and I have to answer. So with the techniques and the strategy, you have to be more wise or be more smart.
In terms of equipment, adequate?
Yeah, in terms of equipment, adequate. Some are not to do, especially in the types of the fire that we come across. In Gauteng, the tools are very nice because of doing a grass fire. You go to Cape, the tools that we are using, total. Only aerial fires, only aerial support is the only one that can help us to suppress the fire.
But I'm saying, I also wanted to point out that, safety is what we always stress amongst our crew members, because it's very important. One life is too many if you lose it. And then we make sure that our crew leaders who are leading the teams into these fire lines, always take responsibility and accountability in terms of making sure that at all times they account for the lives of our people, because we don't want to see anyone dying, because it's also going to affect the operations in the long run and the morale of the team if someone dies during the operations. So we're saying safety first at all times.
Talk to us about some of the programs that you guys are running during this fire season.
During this fire season, I'm going to pass it to Katlego as well, because normally they're busy with the fire breaks at the moment, and the prescribed bans as well, so that they protect properties in and around, and also wildlife as well in communities where they they're based as well. So yeah, I'm sure he can actually tell you what they're busy with now on the ground.
Katlego?
Currently, we're doing fire breaks.
Yeah.
We're doing some block banks. We're just preventing the incidental fires from outside to come to our side.
Yeah.
We're doing fire awareness to the schools. We're doing our fire community awareness as well.
Yeah.
So that we are preventing the incidental fires should not affect our fellow people in the country.
Look, we're commemorating 2 years since the Knysna fires. How are you and your team commemorating this day?
Last week, I think our province, our MDs just sent out the message that we should take a day whereby we memorize the loss of our fellow participants.
Yeah.
Whereby we just take a ribbon, we make a silence, we think about the lost life, and also taking some programs. We're also having some programs whereby we're talking too much about safety, so that this thing that happened the past years could not just affect us.
I mean, you guys are the true heroes here in South Africa. You put your life on the line almost every day in terms of fighting these fires, and when you have these mega fires like this, the risk is even higher. So we thank you very much indeed for your work, you as well as your team, and we wish you all the luck. Thank you very much indeed for coming through.
Thanks.
Parapara as well as Katlego there talking to us about we're commemorating 2 years since the Knysna fires. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll go for